So I just want to show in this video why it helps to have a basic understanding of the code that you're working with when you're vibe coding, when you're working with a coding agent. Now it's not necessary to do this. You can do a tremendous amount just by vibe coding. You can, build a complete app from start to finish using a coding agent. But sometimes that agent may lead you a little bit astray or may not produce the exact result that you want or do it in the best possible way. And in the process, I'm going to show how basic agentic AI works as well, which is sort of under the hood, which is sort of useful as well as sometimes that can be confusing. So I'm going to look at this, refer to this application that I've been working. Again, I mentioned in the last video, it's called TwinFlow, and basically it makes it easier for people to find leads for their business or for jobs, basically to find a contact and get information about them. And essentially how it works is the flow is that, you enter in some basic information, or you take a picture of a business sign as an example, or you find an item in the news, and it will extract information on that particular contact, but it'll also go and get information about them. So it'll search the news, it'll search their website, it will find any information that it can that may be relevant in that particular outreach. So again, the specific things that it does is that it will go and it has the ability to, once you enter the information, it will find the website, it will scrape that website, it will look for news, it'll scrape that news, it'll extract contacts from that news, it'll search contact database to see if it can find the email, and then this is sort of the report that it comes out with when that's all finished. So it's getting better. It's a work in process, but it's actually proving to be quite useful. But I'm vibe coding this for the most part, and I code in C#, which is on the .NET platform. Most people work on other platforms, but that's my C# is my language, and that's what I learned. So that's what I code, and I use a platform called Visual Studio. Most other people probably use Cursor or Lovable or these other, but they all kind of work the same. And so what I would do, for example, is when I was building this particular component, the initial part where you enter in information, it goes and searches, what the agent will do is it's going to try to figure out on its own kind of what's the best way to do this. And when I initially did this, what it did was to go out and do the different tasks, but it's how it was processing that. So initially, what it was doing, for example, it would go to a website, it would scrape it, and then it would look for content within that scraped data, such as a contact email. But it was using a pattern recognition formula. So it was using what in C# anyway is called, like it's regex. It's like it looks for specific things. So it's hard coded. It's deterministic. So it will look and it will try to find a pattern. Like, well, does this look like an email? If it does, then I'll extract it, and that's probably the email. Still using OpenAI is the main model that I use. It'll still use that to summarize the article. It'll still use that to take that email and then to do whatever it needs to do to it. It can create an email for it. But it is deterministic. So sometimes, depending on how that result comes back from that, say like a web page scrape, it may not see it every time. It may work sometimes, but it doesn't work other times. And that's not what I wanted it to do. I wanted to create an agentic AI that would actually go and it would kind of figure out what to do on its own. So this is kind of like the platform what my platform looks like. And again, it's going to be very similar for most other people that are vibe coding. Standard sort of a format here where I type in, commands down here. I guess I'm kind of in the way there. I go like hello, and I would hit enter, and then it's going to process it, and it's going to create a bunch of steps that sort of look like this this here. You can see what it did. This is like a recreation of it, and so what it did then, I said, look, I don't want to use this. I could see what it was doing when it was actually creating the first code and it was using this regex platform. I could see what it was doing, and that's not what I wanted to do. And this is the difference between if you have a basic understanding of how the code works versus it's just doing it on its own. And so I knew that that's not what I wanted it to do. I knew that's not how I wanted it to work. So I gave it instructions. Look, I want to change this to an agentic model. And, I type in some of those instructions, and this is what it says, replace reject contact extraction with GPT 5.5 agentic loop. So what I'm doing, what I switched over is going from a deterministic to the model reads the information that it's received. It has the tools. It knows that it can do a web search. It knows that it can scrape the data from a web page. It knows that it can search for contacts. It knows that it can search for news. And these are all different tools, and those can be added to the model. And that's exactly what I did. And then the AI then it decides basically what to do. I don't need to hard code it and tell it, oh, look for a certain pattern, and that's probably going to be an email address. That's how you would have done it a couple of years ago. But the models are good enough now. They really are very good at understanding that. And so that's exactly what it did. And that's what agentic AI basically is, right? It decides kind of what to do, and then it goes through a number of iterations. That information comes to it. So in this particular case, the initial search, I might enter in a name and a company name, and then it's going to decide. I feed that to ChatGPT or OpenAI through an API, and then it decides. It says, okay, well, the first place I'm going to look is a website. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do a search for the website, and I'm going to check that result to make sure that website actually matches probably this contact in this company, because they're companies with the same name. So it's very good at doing that. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to go to this website, and I'm going to call another tool then, and I'm going to scrape that website. And then that data comes back, and then it's going to then do another iteration. It's going to read that content, and it's going to go through it and say, well, are there any emails in here? Who are the key contacts on here? What are their key contact names? And I'm going to extract that information, and then I'm going to go to the next step. Well, what else do we need to do? Is that email there? Is it just an info at? And then if it's not, then I'm going to go and I'm going to do a search on another platform like Apollo or Rocket Reach, see if I can find that there. And then when that comes back, it's going to make another decision. Well, I want to find like a reason to reach out to this contact. So I'm going to search some news related to them, and then find that information and bring it back. So it's making all these decisions. It's the iteration going back and forth and back and forth. And it has the capacity and the tools to do it. And that's basically what agentic AI is. That's how it works. So that may be useful for people that don't really know exactly how agentic AI works. That is one example of it. But then, as I mentioned, sort of the purpose of this is the importance of understanding, having a basic understanding of the code when you're using one of these tools, when you're using a cursor, a Lovable, or base 44 of these ones. You can see in the window, like right here, you can see what it's doing. And often you just like, okay, I don't really care. It's just sort of printing this stuff out. But it's important to kind of see like, what is it really doing? And is this the best way to do it? And it helps if you have a basic understanding of the code that you're working with, in which case this is all, you can see this is all C# here. I mean, most of them are, they're similar in many ways. And even if you don't really understand how to sit down and code, you can kind of look through this and you can kind of see what it's doing. And often you'll just be like, well, I don't know, that just doesn't really seem, is that the best way to do it? Is that the most efficient way? Because sometimes it can lead you astray a little bit, and it'll go down this other path. And often I've had it, create some code, and I can tell that, yeah, the code works, it's fine, but it's very cumbersome. There are too many lines, and you can tell often by how much it's just chewing through it when it's going back and forth and figuring out exactly what to do. Sometimes you just know that this is taking unusually long. It's doing something else. There's something weird. And then if you can't tell by looking at the code, then you can just ask it. And that's a good thing when it's done, to say, like, is this the best way to do it? Or even if something as simple as, hey, I noticed that you took a long time on this. What exactly are you doing? Is this the best way? Is there another way to do it? And I think you're going to get much better results there. And this is what I'm finding. This is the project that I'm working on here. This is my main focus right now, and this is vibe coded, but it is coded in a language that I have a basic understanding of. And I'll do some other videos on how that's coming along. But it's definitely there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of working out bugs and figuring out as you go. And it's you learn a lot. It's fun. But anyway, so that's just perhaps that's of use. Yeah, so good luck with your vibe coding, and I'm going to do another video shortly on the next thing that I'm working on for this project.